Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is On the Anvil, episode 27?
29.
29.
You got last week. You knew it was 28
Did I
last
really?
week.
I thought I'd missed this. Right. This is episode 29. Wow, it's only 29. It feels like it's 100. This is the show where we take you behind the scenes at Dwarven Forge, lift up the curtain, and show you a little bit of our process, show you what's going on. Or in this case, we're going back in time, and we're going to sort of look at the year in review on Dwarven Forge Live and for Dwarven Forge and whatnot. Right? Is that what we're doing?
Yes. Yeah, basically. It's kind of a... It hasn't been like our 1 year anniversary. We're like 2 months out from that. But, you know, it's the end of 2020, which has been a year in general.
It's been a decade.
It's been a solid decade. And I mean, yeah, we started streaming this year. It was like a really new thing for the company. We tried a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff a lot of plans we had to change because of world events.
Well, every single day, right?
Yeah.
So originally this was supposed to be the episode where we interviewed Felipe Torrent, one of our super talented concept artists who's been doing stuff for ages. But he lives in Spain, and it turns out 7 p.m. in Spain is 1 a.m. I mean, 7 p.m. here is 1 a.m. in Spain. He thought it was 7 p.m. his time. It was 7 p.m. our time, and he has to get up for work at 6 a.m. his time. So to be on a show from 1 till 3 a.m. didn't really make sense. So we're gonna do Felipe in the new year.
Yeah, we're gonna set something up that's like much more convenient for his time schedule, and yeah, there's no point having him on if he's gonna be just absolutely dead the entire time.
Yeah. So that'll be one to look forward to. That'll be one of our first episodes in 2021. We'll kick that off. But now we're gonna look at 2020. Look back and see what happened. See where we went. All cool things happened because of a lot of it thanks to you guys.
Are you sipping on a tall boy?
It's a short boy. It's a what is this 139? It's a dry cider from Wolfer. I don't know. Is it
139? It might be Wolfer number 139. There's a 1 on the bottom left there.
Yeah, I think it's 139. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of this either.
Fancy, like...
It's shaped like the Nuka-Cola bottles.
Some sort of, like, hipster cider from the deli in the corner. But it seemed like it was a celebratory episode, so we should have some, like, fancy, like, the champagne of cider.
By that we mean this was in the office. We don't know why.
No, I bought it.
Oh, you did buy
it?
Yeah. Okay. I thought you seemed surprised by it.
Well, no, I just didn't really know I was just giving it a whirl. So let's. So what do we? So we should do some news, and then we'll go into. Yeah. We'll go back in time.
Yeah, let's cover the news, and then get into the
meat.
Business. Here we go.
News. News.
I'm gonna make a supercut of every
see
one
how
of those.
Consistent it is. So, all right, we're in the news segment. Today in the news.
Build of the Month has been released. If you did not notice, it was released yesterday. It is the Foul Spirits build. Nate, you want to talk a little bit about the inspiration of the build and what it's meant for?
Dungeons. So it was... we haven't done a dungeon one in a while, so it was fun. Or at least, I don't know. We've done all 16 of them, so they all kind of blur together. But... I don't think we've done a dungeon one in a while, so it was fun to took some of the Plaguestone, the Sinister Dungeon Lair, Classic Dungeon Remastered, made a thing. It's a neat entry point if you don't have any dungeons, or if you want to add some stuff you didn't get the Plaguestone stuff. Got a bunch of good bits in there, and it's a fun. I have to say, well, I guess what we'll do when we talk about the recollections of the year, the building of the Build of the Month has been a really fun addition to the lineup. I've really enjoyed that process. We'll talk about it in a second. So. But Build of the Month is up, and the bundle is there. So you get those two. It's basically a bucket of dungeon pieces and a $40 gift card. So it's a good way if you don't have any dungeons or you want some more dungeons. It's a good way to get some dungeons.
It also, if you have somebody that you're wanting to get started on Dwarven Forge, today is
it's like a deluxe. It's like a deluxe entry point.
Yeah, it makes a great holiday gift. As do a lot of the other things that are on our holiday gift guide. If you go to
segue,
that's an incredible
10
segue.
for 10. 10 for 10.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go back to your holiday
It's all
gift guide.
good.
I was just that segue just blew me away.
If you go to the front page of our site, dwarvenforge.com, believe it or not, we've got a holiday gift guide there.
With cider is going right to your head.
Cider makes me aggressive.
Yeah.
We've got a couple things picked out there that are make good presents, and today is actually the last day for guaranteed holiday shipping if you're in the U.S. If you're international, it's already past that. You might still get it by holidays, but we can't really make a guarantee.
No guarantees. But the holiday gift cards are fun if you want to point somebody you love. It's like, I don't know what to get you. Just send them that link, and because it has everything there from like sample sets. Maybe you tell them just anything but the sample sets, all the way up to the Necromancer's Keep. So it's like, and everything's in stock. So it's like this huge array. It's got some forests, some caverns, some ice caverns, some dungeons, some Plaguestone stuff. It's just like all over the place, all range of prices.
How's it feel to have Dread Hollow stuff in the store and not immediately gone?
We haven't sold we haven't sold out of a single set that we stock. It's amazing. Including we've sold over 400 sets of banks, and we're still cooking.
We still got some.
We've already reordered. Jay was already on that. He's like, all right, day one. He's like, all right, we gotta get those back.
We're gonna need more of them. But yeah, it seems like we it seems like we kind of estimated the demand fairly well for that stuff.
And we have the bill of the month for next month, which is literally on the table. Wow, this is really blown out, huh?
A little bit the webcam, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to go live in December, and that's going to have some fun Dread Hollow. It was fun to do. It was first Dread Hollow build of the month there, so that was exciting to do. It's a fun, man. I've been building at home with the Dread Hollow a lot. I cannot wait till people have Wildlands, because it's going to be just like it's a good Dread Hollow's a good set, but it's missing. It needs Wildlands.
That's what I've been hearing that from a lot of people too. They also really want their Wildlands.
And that was when we designed it. It was dipping our toe. It was our forest starter, right? It was like, we're just gonna do enough pieces to start, and it's not gonna have everything. It's gonna have some gaping holes. It's gonna be whatever, but we just want to like get the proof of concept out there and see what happens. And what a heck of a proof of concept!
The gaping holes is not a new sculpt, so don't.
It's a negative space piece.
It's a negative. You just open it up. It's just like a 6x6 like outline of some grass with.
Yeah, good, but it'd be very, very fine grass.
Yeah.
So that was the gift guide. What else? What other news?
What else is going on? So we talked about Felipe. However, next week we are still having our scheduled interview with Thad from Vorpalboard. We wanted to do, especially with like what we've been doing this year, and then like with the way that the world has wound up this year. A lot of people have been having to play remotely, so we want to do next week's episode entirely on.
By a lot of people, you mean everybody?
Everybody, yeah. Some people are still playing it. There's somebody where they're playing like outside, like on like
Padme's Lover.
Yeah,
has been doing that, and I think Shad just had a game recently in person. So you're right. Yeah.
But I think there's kind of a positive to that, in that I think a lot of people who has said before, like, the people who were already playing remotely probably thought they didn't have any use for terrain. And so I think this is a chance to kind of talk about how, no, like, you can still use this stuff remotely. We've been using it. Some of the people on the Discord have been using it. Matt Roboticist has been talking about how he's been using Discord to play with his terrain and show it to players, like, the entire time. And so we want to do next week's episode just talking about all the ways that you can do that most conveniently, tips and tricks to make a good use out of it, how to set things up.
Especially if the holidays are coming up, you may have a little time to do some play some D&D, and maybe it'll give you some inspiration to do some stuff remotely.
That's true.
Fun. Or change your remote setup if you're already playing remotely or whatnot. I'm excited to have Thad on. That guy's dynamite.
Thad's great to talk to, and he's also like. Every time we've done these, so you see the final product when we do these games. So many of those involved Thad working with me for like hours on trying to get things to work the right way, because
he's really Let's save it for the Thad.
We'll save it for
that. We got to talk a lot about Thad while he's there. It'll make him really awkward.
But the main thing is, if there's anything in particular you want to know or anything you're thinking about, go ahead and like ask me on the Discord or. So is it the overhead?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's the overhead.
Just so that we make sure we cover the bases that you guys want covered.
If you've got questions about streaming with terrain, fire them at us, and we'll try and cover it in that episode. And we're gonna do a YouTube video at some point for streaming with terrain in the new year.
Yeah.
So you get.
There's this endless list of things that we want to pull off.
It's true.
And then the other thing is we've got a slight update on the next Kickstarter. Not anything to show, but just kind of talking about things are moving. Hello?
I forgot my dry erase notepad. We're trucking full steam ahead on the next Kickstarter, which I still need a code name for. I was trying to call it C2 for Wild Cities 2, but it just doesn't have the right ring.
C2.
So I've just been calling it Cities. I know, but
there's someday somebody's gonna wake up in the middle of the night, like having thought of it.
Yeah.
You'll see like a Slack message at 4:30 in the morning.
This is it. So we've had a couple of cool team brainstorms. We just had another one. Was it just this week? It was last week. It was last Thursday.
Last Thursday.
Yep.
A little under a week ago.
It was really fun. We brought in a bunch of our outside guests like Crystal Sully and Drew Williams and all. It was a fun. Just kind of threw a bunch of ideas in the pot and did these rapid fire brainstorms where everybody had like 3 minutes to pitch ideas based on what we're doing, and it was wild. Yeah. What are you giggling about?
It was just the whole. Some of us had more fun than others.
Well, you did a stand-up comedy routine for yours.
It was
minus the comedy.
It was fun. I had my camera off like that. Wow. Okay. All right. No,
it was really fun.
Yeah,
it
was.
Chris got his mic out of the cord. It was like did a whole thing. It was pacing as he was telling it.
I had my whole because I just got like a stage mic, and I had my whole I had my camera off like the entire time, and then when it was getting up to my turn, I like turned it on and had like. Yeah, just like
a ridiculous
Nate.
background. It was really fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. So anyway, we're cooking along. We've narrowed it down to somewhere 267 sculpts. We're trying to hack away that get to like at least our starting number. We're gonna look at 100 core sculpts to start with and figure out from there. So we're trying to get down to that, and we'll have some stuff to show. We'll in the new year in January, probably late in January, we'll start looking at some geometry, show you guys some of what we're thinking. We've got a whole bunch of new systems that we're working on, trying to find the best ways to make modular.
I'm extremely excited for some of the stuff that Eli and Toby came up with. It's gonna be very good.
Yeah, it's don't say Eli and Toby came up with, because it's a product of a whole bunch of ideas being stacked on top of each other.
That's fair. They did the presentation, but it was a lot of people talking together.
Absolutely. It's been and at the end of the day, even someone that's not in the core development team, like Johanna, our webmaster, had a really cool idea in the thing that's unrelated to, so it's a creative ferment, right? Like it's everybody's pitching stuff in, and sometimes you don't even realize like that thing you said affects the whatever, and like the modular boat came from Janet back in Caverns Deep.
Really?
We were looking at photos where she's like, well, you take this boat and you make it modular, and everyone was like, of course, so it's like, there's a lot of everybody kind of layering stuff in on itself, but it's gonna be bonkers. We have some really good stuff going.
Yes, that's the main thing. So look forward to probably end of January for actually showing some beans potentially. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Everything's still up in the air. But
as soon as there's something that makes sense to show, because a lot of things are still in flux, but as soon as we have something that makes sense to show, I really want to just start kind of show. Once again, the premise of this show is to show you the process. So I want to get up there and just start showing you guys the process, even though things may radically change. I mean, I just want to be at a point where I'd hate to say if we're making garderobes and then it just gets completely cut, because we've already cut a bunch of things in the last 2 weeks. There was the list of things that we're going to do got cut in half, and it's going to get cut in a quarter again. So if I'd presented to you last week, hey, here's all the stuff we're going to make, and then it would all 3/4 it gets cut. It's too much cutting. Yeah, you got to be at the right
The problem with cities is that we could literally spend 5 Kickstarters. We could spend years just making city stuff. So the part of the process that we're in right now is just killing a lot of babies, figuring out what we're actually going to make, because there's a lot of really cool. There's no shortage of good ideas. It's just figuring out which ones we can do.
What are we going to do right now?
Yeah,
and then we're tons of stuff. It's the usual Dwarven Forge. There's like the bench warmers. There's like all these ideas that are sitting there waiting for their chance to get put in. They're like, is this my time to shine, Coach? Like, when am I coming in? And,
yeah. So.
Oh.
Yeah. That's basically that.
Do we have any other news? There was something I wanted to write down that I forgot. I'm talking about it and I already lost it.
We're talking about
all the restocks are out. All
the restocks are done.
Basically, almost all of our homework's done for the year.
I mean, the biggest thing we're trying to do now is just get things set up at the factory to make sure that we're in a good spot for Wildlands fulfillment before they get on break.
We're racing against the Lunar New Year, as always.
Which isn't an incredibly exciting thing to talk about, but it's just trying to get all the castings in.
Paint masters, castings, terrain tray art, all the we have for next week we can show the battle board. We have the new prototype of the battle board. You can look at it. It's awesome. Which is actually great because that feeds in that somewhat feeds into us actually talking about the remote playing thing. So we'll show off the new prototype next week. Actually, there is one more thing I want to mention. I saw some people on Discord talking about worried that orders they'd put in a week ago haven't been sent out yet. Basically, what happened? The factory, Black Friday, and then all the restocks we've done in a row, or not factory, the warehouse. Black Friday is a very busy time for them, so they're just a little backed up on getting everything out, but it is all still coming. Well, we had between the restock, whatever, there was something like 600 orders backed up, coming into this week. And we're not their only customers. No, we're small in there. Yeah. So they had all their Black Friday business from everybody else, and then we had one of our biggest Yeah, so they're it's taking a little bit longer to ship out than usual, but it will be out soon. Yes. Let's see. If you ever think of the thing you were thinking about, I don't know what I was thinking about. Crazy sentence. If you ever think of it, we can get it brought up. Meh, I'm sure if it was important, it'll come back. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. Man. January restock. We have something coming in January. I don't know. We just don't know exactly what yet. Once we actually know what is coming, we'll say something about that. But there will be a restock in January. We're just not entirely sure on the shape of it yet. And then not again for a while after that, I don't think, because we just got more orders in. Yeah, because it's the Lunar New Year, and then it's also we're wanting them to prioritize Wildlands. Also, it just takes it's 4 to 6 months to get the stuff from when we order, and I think we at this point we've hit all of our things that we'd already ordered. I guess that is a kind of fun thing to think about. Is maybe people don't realize it, but the caverns, the reconfigured caverns core sets and stuff like that. That was a long time in the making. That wasn't a quick thing that we did. That was pre-COVID. Was because they had to retool all the pieces with anchor magnets and I'm excited. Those core packs, the core sets, I'm very excited about the reception on those because that's kind of our, our the core model for a bunch of our things that we want to do moving forward. Yeah. So I'm glad people have been. It got a positive response, so it's nice to think we were going in the right direction with that. Oh, they're awesome! The best of greatest hits collection in one place, anchor magnets and everything, cohesive paint job, boom, boom, boom. So we're going in January. We're gonna do Q1. We're doing the what did I call it? Not self. I don't know. We're curating. We're going back and we're gonna kind of clean up a bunch of the sets and try and get but working on the web store. Oh, that was speaking of the web store. That's big actually. Filters are so close. We're do we know I got a chance to actually see what it looks like, and it's such a big improvement. It's staggering. So basically we Johanna, our webmaster's been building out searchable filter interface for the web store. So we've spent an enormous amount of time. Tyler's been poring over spreadsheets to we have everything kind of quantified by collections, or all the dungeons are in a dungeon thing, all the caverns, then there's sub themes within there. So within caverns there's regular caverns, Underdoom caverns, ice caverns, hellscape caverns, and then within that there's all sorts of sub filters. So you can filter by price, by is it in stock, is it a retired set, is it whatever, is it is it what theme, does it have doors, does it have magnetic accessories, does it have LEDs, does it have it's a really robust thing. So that'll roll out in January, I think, hopefully. And it's going to be, it's going to change the shopping experience. And it's the first part of we've been trying to overhaul this website for, I don't know, going on 3 years now. But this thing is actually going to execute it out, and then the whole web page is going to follow round 1, and then there's a bunch of stuff will be added to it for round 2. But it's all part of the Q1 the Dwarven Forge overhaul.
They're wondering if we can filter out sold out things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you'll be able to select limited edition sets and special edition sets, and you can search for just resin. You can search for everything, doors and floors and elevation, and it's outrageous. There's, I don't know, Tyler said I think there's 84 tags or something, and they're sorted in groups, so you can open up the groups and get as granular as you want. And
well, it's a really robust thing. It's kind of like there's similarities to what we tried to do with the Pledge Manager, right?
It's rooted in we'd started it before Wildlands, and then actually used a bunch of that as the Wildlands basis for the tags. We're like, let's try and make some of these tags future, compatible with the tags we want to do for the store and whatnot. Yeah, it's layers of a lot of layers of thought have gone into it, and trying to figure out how to create the best shopping experience for folks. So if you're looking for, what are you going to be, when you're looking, how are you going to be thinking? What are you going to be kind of, yeah. So I can't wait for that to roll out.
Yeah,
it's we're getting there.
A lot of really exciting things.
Yeah. Any other news?
I am struggling to think of stuff. If stuff comes up, we can always talk about
That's
it.
True. Imagine that.
That's fair. Yeah. This is going to be more of a freewheeling episode, anyways.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main topic for today, as we mentioned earlier, is just kind of talking about this channel as a whole, how it's developed since we started it back in mid-February, and where we're hoping to take it next year, and kind of talk to you guys about all that.
What was a fun? I've told the story a couple of times. I think of you just rolling in. It was January or something. You're like, listen, Twitch is a big deal.
It was December. Because I remember, because then over
Christmas... There was a follow-up in January.
Yeah, it was December, because I made the pitch while I was helping edit some stuff.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a more consistent job. And
that wasn't in the pitch. That was...
Hiring you was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Because I remember, because then over Christmas I made all these spreadsheets of here's the different stuff we could do.
Here's some programming.
I made a whole thing of these are the things we want to try to hit and what different shows can do and all that.
Yeah. And then we kicked it off right before the world set on fire.
Yeah, we came back in. Then in January, me, Mason, Hamster kind of started figuring out how to build it. We ordered a computer and built that, because the one that we used for the Hellscape streams was not capable of streaming.
No.
And then...
do you remember what was the date of the first stream? Was it March or February?
It was
the end of February?
It was February.
Yeah.
It was mid-February. I can look that up extremely quickly. Yeah.
And ostensibly we knew we wanted to do a bunch of live streaming. I'd had early on, I think maybe even preceding this or around this, I was like, I want to stream every single day of Wildlands. That was one of my long-term plans. I was like, we're gonna just stream every single day. It's gonna be bonkers, but I think I don't know. Let's just try it. And so part of the pitch on this was, you're like, well, let's figure out what the heck we're doing. If we're, if we build this, if we start doing Twitch regularly, we'll be better. Because our previous streams, not so strong. They
weren't. There was a... Man,
we did a stream from this inside Kickstarter headquarters in Brooklyn. We tried to stream a game out of there, and there were some rough patches along the way, but you're like, well, we can really we'll really know what we're doing by the time Wildlands launches if we start in February.
That was the big thing. So I was saying I wanted to set up this platform so that it's ready by the time the Kickstarter rolls around, and by the time it did, we had a Discord community set up of people who understood things enough and were involved enough that they kind of helped greet a lot of the newcomers who hadn't backed Dwarven Forge before, and they were able to help explain things, which took a load off of our backs when it came to
the best.
when it came to explaining things to people.
Well, and you said, like, listen, there's a big community there that's like, we'll be hungry for this, and sure enough, man, that was one of the coolest things about Twitch was sort of how quickly a big chunk of our community was just like, yes, and we're like, you guys are watching now, we have a bunch of awesome diehards who show up regularly and just have the best vibes and are just like,
in the first
hanging out with our friends. It's like, it's the best.
Within a couple, like by the time we got to the Kickstarter, we were pulling in like 100 people regularly on the Anvil, and we still like hold those numbers even after the Kickstarter. Like while we were watching, like during the Kickstarter, we broke 200 for most of the streams.
It's crazy to think that we can just stream kind of just talking about nothing, and 100 people will show up and hang out for it. Like, thank you guys. It's like, it's awesome.
It's a thing, I think what's also really nice about it is, I'm an extremely online person, so I am around like gaming communities and stuff a lot online. We've got genuinely one of the least toxic ones I've seen, which is nice. And I'm not sure if it's because we primarily... I think a lot of it is that a lot of our base is primarily creatives as well. And I feel like if you're a creative, generally speaking, you tend to be more empathetic just because that's such a root part of collaborating and creating with people, is being able to be empathetic. And so we get to... like, the Discord is just an extremely healthy environment most of the time, where I don't really have to do a lot of moderation. A lot of times people will, if there's an issue, a lot of times people will work it out themselves a lot of the time, which is great. There's exceptions, of course, like there's always going to be exceptions, but it's really been cool to see how much this is built up. We've got over 3,500 followers on Twitch. The Discord has over 500 people in it. Then I would say probably around 50 post with some regularity.
Although twice Twitch has given us, they gave us a partner, and then pulled it away twice.
They gave us the chance to apply for partner, even though we've met the requirements. I think we're in a weird spot because
they kept yanking it, right? Like it literally, this
they never give it to us.
But the account said we had partner at one point. When we were online, it said.
So it's like that thing was weird, because after Wildlands, we like reached out to them and we were like, look, like we just did like a month straight of this. I think the thing is they expect us to do more days a week, or something. But then it's also a thing where I think next time we reach out to them, we need to say like, look, we're a company outside of this as well, because your presence outside of Twitch also does affect like the partnership thing. And I think if they understand we're not an individual who is trying to make streaming a career, but we are a business who uses their platform, I think we can make a pitch for it.
And also, it doesn't matter if we're a affiliate or a schmo or a whatever. Like, we're
getting affiliate was the big thing, because I wanted the ability to give people custom emotes and the ability to have more community features was the main thing. Getting partner would help us get a lot more. We've pushed affiliate to its limits at this point. But if we did get partner, then like we could have way more emotes and we'd get access to more features. We'd have a direct line to Twitch to try and set up like special stuff, that sort of thing. So I'm still trying to get that to work, but honestly, the fact that we have affiliate is enough for most of what we're trying to do.
No.
Yeah.
So what happened this year? Did you get?
Well, I've got numbers.
Let's talk about what are your discoveries from 2020.
First, I want to just give you like the raw numbers of what we've done.
I can't even.
Okay. So altogether, we've done 234 hours of streaming.
Wait. How? So that's
we've done almost
10 days straight streaming.
And by the time that we break for like the holiday break, counting this stream and like tomorrow's stream and the ones next week, we will be over 240 hours of streaming. So we will have over 10 straight days of streams if you play them all back to back by the time we go on Christmas break.
How many of those were Wildlands?
Wildlands was 50 and a half hours of streaming over the course of like, how many days was that campaign?
25 days?
25. 20. Yeah, 28 streams. That makes sense, because we had 28 streams because we doubled up on a couple days.
That's aggressive. Whose damn idea was that? That was,
Yeah, I don't know.
oh man.
Honestly, I'm happy we did it.
Oh, it's awesome.
I know
Yeah.
other people talk about it like taking too many resources or whatever. I think it's fun to be able to say we did it. And the thing is, like, honestly, like, looking back at it, I still wish that we could have put
Done
out more streaming
Yeah.
content. There's still other things I wish we could have highlighted.
I agree.
Because, like, the thing is, like, I enjoyed all the stuff that we were doing.
We could have covered more. We didn't have. There were not people. We would have died. Like, but there was. Yeah. So okay. So 240.
234 hours of streaming total so far, not counting this week's
Wow.
and next week's streams. 61 hours of those have been on the Anvil.
Wow.
So 61
A
hours
quarter
on
of
the
it.
Anvil so far. It'll be 65 after this week and next
So
week.
a quarter of it is on the Anvil.
Yeah, a quarter of it's on the Anvil, which makes sense. It's been like the standby show.
Consistent show.
Uh,
Have we missed any? How many? We took a couple off after
June
Wildlands.
and July was our slowest. I went through and I added them up by month, and in June
Yeah.
and July we streamed like less than 10 hours because we were
We
heavy in
kind of
Wildlands
we
mode.
shut down. We didn't do Build of the Month. We basically shut down YouTube. We shut down everything. Like not all non-essential systems went down to like get to birth Wildlands. So,
Yeah, it was a
Which was
combination. It was a combination of the quarantine and us figuring out how we were going to do it.
Yeah.
And we tried to keep things going for a while, but like we stopped playing games at that point. What was a
Except
big part of
everything, we
it
were just, like,
because we had to go hardcore into Wildlands. But then Wildlands hit, and we did like 50 hours in a month. So
25 days.
we've got
Well, so we averaged 2 hours a day for 25 days
yeah. Then we've got
while running a Kickstarter.
while running a Kickstarter, doing all the other stuff that we were doing.
In a pandemic.
In a pandemic.
Yeah. Just
And then when it comes to like our playlists, we've got over 50 hours of painting streams.
wow.
We've got 44 hours of building streams,
Wow.
30 hours of live play streams
Wait, 30 hours of live play?
of games. Yeah.
That's a lot of live play for.
Yeah. Well, we had those games that Tyler did early
Yeah.
on. We've got a couple from Wildlands, and you know each of those. Some of those were like longer games.
I guess when you compare to Critical Role, it's like nothing, right? They've generated like 500 hours of live play for one season or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
24 hours of the hobby hang, which is a new thing too, so it's kind of funny. But it's it's
a lot.
at least 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
21 hours of interviews with artists or staff members. 12 hours of sculpting streams, 6 hours of wargaming streams, 6 hours of critical rebuild specifically.
This bears a question. What is there content that you guys want to see more of? Like, is there? I mean, not that we necessarily have the bandwidth that we can do it, but I'm curious. Like, is there stuff that you guys would like to watch? Is there stuff that we could deliver that we're not delivering, or more of like you're like, oh man, I wish we could have more of that wargaming, or I miss the critical rebuilds, or I wish you guys would do the burlesque or whatever it is. Like, I don't think it's the latter, but whatever. Like, I'm curious.
They want to see more of Mace trash talking people. Sculpting, including painting. I would like to get more sculpting streams. The problem with getting sculpting on is that our sculptors universally are also the people who are like the least equipped for streaming. The reason we're able to do the hobby hang is because Hamster is also a streamer, so he's got like a good internet connection.
Eli
and good equipment.
is in Vermont with no internet, so
Yeah.
he's right out.
Eli tried really hard to get set up for streaming.
Michelle doesn't have any equipment.
Yeah.
Nina doesn't have the equipment. She has the broadband.
But then it's like a whole
potentially-
computer thing, and
Yeah.
like it's
Right. She doesn't have a streaming computer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. If we were able to have everybody in the office
Yeah.
again, that'd be one thing. Which is why the first On the Anvil we did was Eli sculpting in the office.
Well, maybe come June, the world will be in a state where we can have Eli back here, we could have Michelle here, we could have Nina here, and then like we could do some sculpting on, because yes, it'd be awesome to show like that first, like, I don't know, I think it was pretty cool to be able to see do I have it here, the stepped stump,
the steps
crag.
Yeah.
Like, see it actually get like birthed, and then it has that cool Luna moth on there because of like a backer suggestion or viewer suggestion.
Does he like just sleep in the shop when he has to work in the office? No, he stays in a hotel, doesn't he?
I mean, he logs in like 12 hours a day here, and then
He does spend a lot of time
hotel.
here.
Yeah.
But that's also just kind of like the environment of the office too. Is we just like.
Well, when he's
hanging
here, he
out.
wants to maximize his time, and
Yeah.
he'll do like 12 hours of sculpting and then play Magic for a couple hours, and then
Why not record the sculpt and do live painting of that sculpt? So we do have them record time lapses for sculpting.
Yeah.
It's really nice to be able to have them talk through the process live and everything. Like we did do a Wildlands stream, or actually before Wildlands, we did a sculpting stream with Nina, where she talked through her process a bit. We did that one with Eli, and getting to talk through the process is like the nice thing. Like being able to have them work on it live is very cool.
It's also hard. Like I think the POV of the sculpting, like maybe it needs to be a camera. Like it's hard to get we don't want to mess up their process. It's hard to like get the camera set in a place where they can stay in focus and do its thing and wherever, especially because they move it around a lot, whatever.
Build highlights. I want to see more people's stuff.
But it would, in general, it'd be nice to be able to capture more sculpting on camera, or at least time lapse it out, because it is a little like it's not the fastest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So it's cool seeing that. It's mad. Like seeing the clay get pushed around. It is really
even the 3D sculpting too. Like it was there's a lot of cool stuff, and that's the thing is we want to highlight as much of that as possible. A lot of it's had a damper put on it just because of the quarantine, but we're trying to find ways to work around as much of that as possible.
What else do people want to see more of?
They're saying seeing more live games, which it would be nice to get back into doing games. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun.
Really just enjoy watching things get built. You could do an episode on hidden things to paint in Dwarven Forge pieces.
Yes.
It'll be fun doing like more specific painting streams.
I think Aaron is going to do a YouTube video, a Thoughtful Touches YouTube painting video of like, hey, if you've got Dread Hollow, here you want to punch up these things. Here's some cool little bits.
From what I understand, there's like a whole list of things that we want to point at because there's so much stuff. Yeah. There's so many little things in the pieces.
Some build I'd love to do more often some fun build like the thing we did in Wildlands where Toby and I each took a bucket of pieces. Like we each had a Heart of and something else.
That was cool. Yeah, that was one of the last
concurrently built two things together. Like that was a really fun.
That was one of the last streams that we did in Wildlands.
That was a fun one. He did like this crazy tower. Like see how high he could go, and he stacked like Stairway to Violence in the top, and like
because he did Heart of the Mountain with Aaron Thor, and you did Heart of the Forest with Dread Hollow.
Yep, and some
terrain trays. You made the beginning of the Lost Mines of Fendelver, basically.
Yep.
Without realizing it.
Pieces told me.
We also did that build jam. That's another thing.
Build jams
I've seen people multiple times. People have said like, "Oh, it'd be cool to like bring guests in to like do like these kind of build competitions."
Well, that was one of your original pitches.
That was one of the original ideas, and I was very excited for it. And then the quarantine happened, and so the one that we did during Wildlands was this is as close as we can get given the circumstances. But I wanted.
But the build jam format is a cool.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit of it combines like the building with the kind of like freewheeling conversation of just people hanging out with the trash talking of the competition.
Yeah,
like
the Mace trash talk that everybody craves more of.
Mace trash talking while she's not even a part of the competition.
No, no rules with trash talk.
Yeah, so we'd like to do more of that. People are saying they want to see the Dwarven Forge team playing D&D. We did a couple of those before Wildlands. I'd like to get back into them.
Be fun.
Enjoy the build streams with restrictions. So I actually.
The what?
Was that?
Build streams
with restrictions. I like build of the month due to the limitations and creative thinking it requires. Like with the build jam, it was like, you have to do this. There's a list, like, and the winner of the coins house got to pick like their secondary biome to go with it and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a neat, like, constraints are a fun. It makes you get really creative.
What about builds around modules, but not mention the copyright name? We have talked about like.
Can't we even mention the copyright name?
We should be able to.
Are we like?
Because we're not creating.
I think
we're not making a market substitute. We're making like a complementary thing.
Saying, hey, this is, if you like Dragon Heist,
they're not going to be able to play the module without buying the book if they get our pieces.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Let's see. Builds are always good when we know which sets we need to buy to make it. Yeah, that's what we learned about the sample build thing. When we popped the sample builds into Wildlands, it was like a huge revelation. So we need to keep that in mind.
Toby in January is going to do sample builds for a whole bunch of sets on our web store. Yeah. And Aaron's going to do photos with it. So we're going to have we're going to do a whole sample builds section on the new website. And the build of the month has them in. I get some complaints on Twitter when I I post a picture of a build I do at home, and they're like, "Oh, well, what sets do you use?" I'm
They want to know like exact sets, and it's like
I just took a bunch of stuff and built a thing. It was like
I think if we have
Like,
builds where it is like this is a building with specific sets thing, it'll be more excusable to go like this was just like a pull what I've got like build sort of thing.
Well, that's why I build of the month. Like I did build of the month, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna do sets these are specific sets. This is a thing, whatever. But like, yeah, But you know what we are gonna do? It was your idea. We're gonna do. We're gonna take some of our builds and some fan builds and put them once again on the new website.
Oh, we're going forward with that?
We'll have a build ideas section of the website. It'll say, it's not going to say specifically all the sets, but it'll say, here's some of the hero, like the tower in the Maze of Thorns thing that I did last weekend, I don't know, like, which we did on the air, where it would say this is, the hero sets in this are the Thorn Walls. It uses Dread Hollow, Aaron Thor, and some castle for the tower. It won't, so it'll say kind of what the hero things are and what the biomes are, but it won't have all the set specifics. So.
Yeah. I thought that'd be a really cool thing to do. Is like just having like a gallery of like look at all the stuff people have done with our.
And here's some of the key things that they used in this. And then you can go from there.
Excellent. So I actually we do have some stuff to watch regarding the pass throughout the channel. Basically,
you have like a top 10 countdown?
Not a top 10.
5. 3.
But I threw something together.
Ooh, is it a highlights reel?
Yeah, I threw something together last night when we decided we were doing this.
Am I gonna cry? Is it like...
I don't know if there's anything. It depends on. The audio gets pretty loud at some point, so if it hurts enough, maybe.
So I'm on the receiving end of my own dynamics.
Yeah. So let's actually play this real quick. Everybody should be able to hear it pretty clearly. If there's any issues with the sound, let me know, but it should play fine. Our mics will be off while it's actually playing, though, so that they can hear clearly. All right, let's...
How long is it?
Like 2.5 minutes. Yeah.
3 hours, perfect.
3 hours. It's going to be the rest of the stream.
That's it. We're just going off.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Rerun.
Okay, we're live now.
Are we really live?
Yeah, we're live now.
Oh, you're supposed to do like a little countdown of like, you're not kidding? You're kidding?
We're live.
Can anybody see us? Shout if you can see us. See, I don't hear anything.
Everybody's
They're not shouting.
saying you're live. You're live. Woohoo! Hello.
Hello! Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is happening live. There we go. Eat your heart out, Twitch! One of you guys in the comments said, hey, we really need, like, we don't have a good transition to Hellscape. What if you had like a portal that would get you to the Hellscape from Wildlands? We're gonna try that. What is this? Our pre-Wildlands countdown, or our Wildlands countdown pre-launch? Free lunch. This is us sort of scrambling around getting ready to launch.
I mean, if you want, you can call me Christopher Squawkin'.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
So hamster painted her up.
You guys know how to make my work look good, thank you.
It's like taking my work and then elevating it into a whole new thing that is like, it's not just my work anymore. It's a collaboration between a sculptor, and it's just a piece of art, and it's incredible.
It's one,
60 seconds.
Close it random.
60 seconds.
Come on.
Come on. 60 seconds. Come on. Get there. It's like $300. Come on. We're making a site. You guys are the best.
And there's no unlicensed songs to be sung during this time.
Meow 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 meow
Honestly, this is my second favorite Christmas song, but behind Christmas.
Everybody has left the chat. Yeah.
Woo!
So I think that's good. It's a little rough around the edges, but yeah.
So is Dwarven Forge.
So is Dwarven Forge. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So that's, I don't know. It's a really wild thing to kind of look
we
back
covered
on.
a lot. We come a long ways from the first stream. No
We come
light,
along,
no anything.
we come a long
like,
ways from the Hellscape stream.
Yeah.
Like, man, like
He almost broke that computer. It set on fire.
It was.
Yeah.
It's got an i3 processor, and we were trying to run 5 different video feeds through it. Like, it was. I felt so bad after that, like, because I really wanted it to. And so what bummed me out about it was the visual setup and like all the pieces and then like the actual gameplay. All that stuff was there and it was extremely good, and I just hated that. Like, it didn't come through cleanly.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the.
You couldn't push it out.
We went way over the limits of that.
Well, that's
computer.
how we got here. Like, we figured out what wasn't working.
Well, that's why I came in and I was like, hey, you need to let me build a.
Yeah, I need a computer. I'm gonna get a prop.
Getting a prop?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. There's the thing.
All right. Well, he's out here. Hasn't. Tell a joke. I believe it was Subtalon said he'd been saving jokes for the stream, and he posted in chat. I wanted to go ahead and shout this one out. He said, "Hey, have you heard about the Stormtrooper band? You probably haven't, because they haven't had any hits." It's pretty good. He didn't clear this prop with me, so I have no idea what he's grabbing. I have no idea what you're getting. Oh.
So I have, you know what it is? I was thinking of 3. I've got kind of 3 things. My 3 takeaways from a year of Twitch, or whatever it is. 240 hours of Twitch. And number 1, I have a bunch of stuff here that we made for Wildlands, because so number 1 thing was, or backwards going number 3, I don't know. The first thing was this ridiculous thing, right? The Oblivion Nexus, which we didn't get to make in its initial form. So what was really cool was having this was an idea by Finley Shards, I think, right, during the very first on the Anvil.
It was Finley Shards.
Right.
Technically the second. So it was the first one that we planned as on the Anvil,
Got
but then we retroactively made Eli's
the first
sculpting stream the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So basically, this was the thing. I think we went through 2 iterations or 3 iterations. I don't remember. This was the final thing. But sort of taking a really cool viewer idea and kind of iterating it out on stream, and then turning it into a thing that was completely unmakeable. Like this mold would have been like $100,000. Actually, absurd. Like, I don't even like. I don't know. The only other thing and then it could fit the fogger and the light puck. We had plans, but it was outrageous. But anyway, but the process of kind of taking, realizing that there was some really good feedback out there and some really cool ideas from our cool viewers, and then turned into, this was like the version that we could actually, sizable, that we could actually do. And I don't actually, I didn't do this one on the air, but I did this one, like I did a bunch of this.
That was the
like,
thing.
Sculpted this
Everybody
on the air.
That was you did that literally from scratch. You showed the concept drawings.
Was it really from scratch on the? No, because you know what it is. This is the version 2. The version 1 I did on the air. Then I scrapped it and I had to do this because it wasn't quite. I didn't have enough time. Like, this was like an 8-hour thing to do this.
But that was the thing, because the only thing they saw was the Chonky Boy. And so then everybody just assumed that the piece was cut, and we all stayed quiet about it.
Because it was insane.
Because the last thing that they had saw, we could not possibly have made it.
But then we made its happy little cousin, which, if you never saw the big giant absurd, like just too large to ever be made thing, like this,
it is like twice the size of the Nexus we got.
4 times. It's absurd, but it's the same. A lot of the same functionality. The lid pops off, and you have the portal down to Hell or the Shadowfell or whatever, and it has fog capability, and it zips up, and it has the bridge ports and all the same bits. But so this was a really fun, like, the process of the process of kind of showing it and doing it and letting people be a part of it was very fulfilling and rewarding. And the also I don't think one of my worries was people would be disappointed because stuff changes so much in our our process. I was worried people would be disappointed by stuff, and maybe they were disappointed that we couldn't make the biggest thing in the world. Also, it would have been like $500 or something.
It would have been more than the resin pieces.
It would have been you just wouldn't have been. It was anyway, but it would have been really, really, really cool.
Yeah. That's what we do. We offer the original prototype as a resin piece.
Oh, I can't. Just cast this in resin.
make it in office.
Yeah. So then, so that was a really fun sort of process, and sort of realizing, okay, we can show people stuff, and it probably won't. They won't get totally crushed, maybe, if it doesn't come real or whatever.
So far, I haven't really seen anybody get upset about it, because we've been very upfront about that. Especially with the waterfall thing, we went through 4 or 5 iterations of waterfalls on air.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, we went through a lot, and I think it showed people. I think it helped show people that these decisions are extremely long, complicated. When you're building a whole system like that, there's so much stuff you have to throw out the window.
All of it.
There's so many things you have to take into account, and it's.
So then number 2 was. Well, I don't really have anything to show for it. It's the building of the build. Actually, you can kind of see the build. Wait, can we go wide? I've cluttered it all up, but this was the build of the month. Here,
this is January's.
This is a piece of, although this has a bunch of banks that aren't actually part of it and a train tray. But the building of the build of the month has been really a fun thing for me to do. So it was, when we were talking about content, I was like, well, what are, one of the challenges is it's we have a limited amount of bandwidth.
A lot of it was, how can we take stuff that we're already having to do and just make it more transparent, make it more interactive?
What stuff that we're going to do anyway, can we just film it or just do it live? And building of the build of the month is one of those things, right? Yeah. So that was thinking, I was like, you know what, I have to, every month, I have to kind of figure out what the heck I'm doing. Why don't I just do it live on Twitch and see what happens? And it's been my favorite thing, because it's, I just people get to just kind of see, you're just sort of figuring it out and whatever. But B, we get so many good ideas from people. It is, and sometimes it's brilliantly bonkers. The lava. What was the lava one? What was the lava?
Oh, the salamander pit. Pit.
What the heck was that called?
Spawning grounds, something like that.
What is the final name? Hellspawn Hollow, Hellspawn something but that was I had no idea what we were gonna make, and it was just this insane, it just, you meandered into this crazy awesome place with so many fun ideas, and that would have never come to fruition if we didn't harness our awesome viewer base, right? By opening up this process and saying, hey, I'm just going to build something with the lava, and people are kicking out ideas, and next thing you know, it's an illicit salamander breeding ground, and the Afrits are stunting their intelligence so they can control them, but if they can break the thing, then they'll rampage free, all that, which it was all that stuff would never have existed. So it becomes we made this really neat kind of open collaboration space, which has been really fun and meaningful, and takes a lot of the stress out of Build of the Month for me, because now
it makes it feel less like work that you have to get done, and more, it makes it feel more like play.
Well, I'm just I can't wait to go on the air with a bucket of sets and be like, what are we gonna build? And then it just starts, the waterfall of nonsense just starts flowing in. I'm like, oh man, it's coming faster than you can process. You're oh, this is and it's really fun to just sort of see all these. There's a brilliant ideas out there that people are just kicking around. They just keep one-upping it and just layering it on, and it's it's really fun to kind of share that process and have to crowdsource a bunch of the concepting and sort of see where it goes, and
well, it's just
do freeform creativity kind of on the air of just sort of
it's kind of just an extension of our core mission statement, right? Like the whole point is you talk about the creative ferment and the fact that like it's not just the sculptors that come up with the ideas for pieces, it comes from everywhere. Like
be aggressively collaborative.
Yeah.
Like that's our, relentlessly collaborative. Like it's really so it's fun to be able to share that process with the viewers. So that's really been I've really been loving that.
Also, now that you've got the minis out, one of the things that I loved the most about the Wildlands streams was the streams where we brought like the people we collaborated with on, and they got to see like their finished sculpt live for the first time.
Awesome.
Like
so did the viewer. Like people had never seen the Basilisk was a new, like no one had seen that thing.
I remember Crystal Soli, she was in the chat watching when we pulled it out at that last stream, and she was losing her mind in chat.
Wait, wasn't she? Oh, it was with. Wait,
we showed her the Wailuli for the first time, and she got to see the Wyvern on her stream. Although you'd sent her pictures of that before.
Who was on the stream with the Basilisk? Oh, the Basilisk wasn't an interview
Basilisk
stream.
Was we didn't have anybody on for that one, but Crystal was in the chat watching when we revealed it.
Yeah, the interview streams have been really fun. To just sort of getting, what it is. I like that we can be a channel where we can celebrate the artists that are part of the art. And I don't know if I don't know if Russ at Steamforged has ever been, for Steamforged gets to go on a stream and show off his art and talk about his ideas and talk about a thing and whatever. And I don't know if Crystal's ever done that, or Drew has ever done that, or Nina's ever done that, or it's really fun to have a vehicle here where we can showcase the artists, their work, and talk about it and everything. That's been I love that, and I think viewers have enjoyed it too. I don't know because I don't.
People really liked the interview streams. We got really good feedback on a lot of the interviews. People really like the Joe Manganiello interview
because Joe is
he's hilarious. He was very, very funny. I didn't know what to expect because I had never been around him or watched him talk or anything before. So I was not expecting half the places that stream went.
Christopher Squawkin was.
It was a good thing. There's a reason we put that in the highlight reel.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's part of the fun of all this is we don't know where it's gonna go. That event, and it's really delightful. So then I think my number one sort of fun learning, which kind of has been touched on with the other ones, and I think you said it too, is that the transparency doesn't hurt us. So I was worried that showing, kind of lifting up the curtain would
kill some of the hype or something.
Yeah, ruin some of the excitement or the reveals or the hype or the mystery or the whatever. And I think it's just the opposite. I think showing people part of the process and revealing things, beforehand, like the fact that we showed off a bunch of waterfall geometry on the air, I don't think it took away from. And people,
they still sold really well.
Top 10 set, no problem.
A lot of the stuff that we showed was performed extremely well.
Yeah, so I think it fundamentally I don't think it hurt us at all, and I think it would it's nice to sort of see that having the transparency or just showing people the process or not being afraid to show unfinished work hasn't seemed to negatively affect us. So that was.
I don't think so either, and it also and we did still keep a couple surprises, and also
always.
Also another thing to keep in mind is the group that we have watching this and that is on the forums and that sees when we reveal something early is still an incredibly small part of the percentage of people that actually back these Kickstarters. Yep. And we had 3,500 backers. Right,
but if we only have 100 diehard people watching, that's a small percentage.
A lot of those people are still going to be surprised by stuff, and then the people who are invested enough to be here every week are not going to be turned off by seeing this stuff.
And they deserve to have the cool sneak peek, right? Yeah. If you're going to tune in every week and watch this stuff, you deserve to kind of know what's coming ahead of time. And then we're also arming them with the knowledge to kind of spread it out to the rest of the people and say, hey, this is that, or wait till you...
The Discord was so incredibly helpful with helping people figure out their pledges and everything. Just having a bunch of people who were excited enough about the stuff to like talk people through things so that we didn't have to. Just because there's so many people to try and handle on an individual basis during a Kickstarter.
No, so it hasn't been like I'm not worried about like sort of keeping the secrets intact or whatever. It's not so bad. Although the key is if you want to keep the secrets intact, is you just don't tell Stefan. Sorry, Stefano, if you're watching, but like, guy can't keep a secret for his life. Like it's just like it's just
actually.
So you gotta
speaking of,
that's why don't tell him about the dragon. Don't tell him about the Oblivion Nexus. You gotta like keep because it'll all get leaked out.
Speaking of the of us being able to keep secrets, there was a moment extremely early on in the campaign where we accidentally leaked a version of the
unbelievable. By we you mean me.
Had, like,
at 6 a.m. like I hit a thing and it was like oof.
Yeah, and I remember getting up in the morning and seeing people in the Discord talking about all the pieces we hadn't revealed, and the fact that I was able to come in and go like, "Hey, that was an accident. We want this stuff to stay secret," and everybody who had seen it was just like, "All right, cool."
It's unbelievable. Like I was floored at how because immediately I was like, "Oh my god, this is the unredacted."
We just blew all of our surprises for the rest of the campaign.
Like, granted, there weren't pictures of everything and stuff, but it was like it was bad and. Everybody like there was some people traded the information privately. They said like if you want a copy of it, email me and I'll send you the thing or whatever. But it was like I never saw it pop up on a public forum. Like it was I was staggered by how tight-lipped people were about it and like how good sports about it and just like kept it. Like, it's really amazing.
Just the fact that everybody was like willing to respect that we wanted to reveal these pieces in the right way. That we wanted to be able to like show these pieces in the best possible light. It was great. It was like that. It was that Spider-Man scene with everybody like passing the mask up the train.
Yeah. No, it was really they were invested. Like you guys are the best. Like it really. Yeah. Everybody sort of was a responsible part of the community. Was like trying to keep a little of the mystery alive. Especially because also like you don't know how the campaign's gonna twist or turn or whatever, and that piece could die or a thing could change or whatever. So it's also like,
which I guess is one of the big takeaways from the year is like we learned just how much we can collaborate with, how much we can like trust and rely on like a lot of our more like diehard backers.
Yeah.
To kind of like the fact that they want to see us do well, and so they're not gonna screw us over when stuff like that happens. I think is a very cool and reassuring thing to know.
Because you guys are the best.
Yeah. That was a very cool.
So I think those are my 3 big learnings. Did you learn anything else?
Stuff that I learned. People are way more forgiving of the stuff that we make than we are. I think is a big thing.
Well, we hold ourselves to a very high, maybe sometimes impossibly high standard. Because
so much of this stuff has been trying to figure out the best way to do things. Some of which hasn't really been done on Twitch before that I've seen. Like some of the stuff people have tried to do.
The live game stuff, like
the fact that we've
punching in on multiple close-ups and things with Vorpal board and all like.
The fact that like coming out of a lot of those games, like there were moments where I was worried that like I'd ruined the whole thing. And to just have people like still have like a very positive like response to all of it was nice because we I don't know when you make things you have this extremely idealized version of like what that thing's going to be in your head, and so I don't know you're talking about like
magic. I was just realizing, so this year we had Hellscape release.
Cavern's Deep.
No, Cavern's Deep was last year.
Cavern's Deep hit the store in March.
Well, the restock.
Oh, okay, you're talking about...
first ever, right? So this was like...
Because I remember one of our first streams that we did was the big Cavern's Deep mega build, like the whole team coming together
That
thing.
was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the... Right, because we finally... Oh, yeah. So we shipped the last of our Cavern's Deep, and then you're right. Cavern's Deep hit the web store for the first time. That was in March.
Yeah.
Hellscape. I didn't even bring a Cavern's Deep piece up. Like the breadth of pieces that hit the store this year we will never accomplish that again in 1 year. Right. Yeah. So Cavern's Deep hit the store. Hellscape hit the store. Plague Stone hit the store. The remastered, our repainted, reconfigured Dread Hollow hit the store, and we launched Wildlands all in the same year.
I think my favorite thing about
that's like the amount of work.
The wildest thing about 2020 was, on top of the pandemic, 2020. This was the year where 2020 Dwarven Forge had to foot the bill for everything that 2019 Dwarven Forge promised.
Yeah, no, it was really. Our 2019 Dwarven Forge was writing a lot of checks that we then had to.
We went way overboard in 2019. Threw way too many balls in the air at once, and
we got Plaguestone cages. Like there was I think there were 20 something new pieces in Plaguestone. There was all of Hellscape landed and Caverns Deep landed, and it's a pretty.
I think.
Pretty outrageous year.
I think one of the other things we've learned was beyond just like related to like the hype of the Kickstarters, that the transparency I think also helps us move our other pieces and helps us like do better in the store as well. We had some of our best like store days this year.
Well, we've been better at communicating than ever before.
Yeah,
for sure.
Transparency is helping us on like all fronts, basically.
Yeah. We what else are our firsts for this year?
What other firsts?
We had our first dragon, which is in Wildlands.
Yeah. Oh, Vancouver.
Look at her. She's like.
I can't remember who said it. Somebody said it when we revealed Vancouver. They said, "Wow, waited all these years for a Dwarven Forge dragon, and like they finally do a dragon and they do it right." It's like, yeah.
All of our stuff we're trying to, right? Going nuts on. Pedestal of Pain. I can't even. I should have gathered up more. I forgot Caverns Deep was landed this year. It's insane. Because then we also had the restock at the tail end of this year, which is. I'm curious. What were people's favorite Twitch moments?
I guess we can add the reconfigured sets to the list of things that got released this year as well. Because that's also a new approach entirely.
All the Caverns core.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ice, all the we remastered a bunch of original Caverns to fit with the rest of Caverns Deep, and then bundle those up. It's a pretty. How did we do all in a pandemic? It doesn't even make sense. I'm tired.
I think the answer is because we had to.
Yeah. Well, honestly, we were running on fumes, like rolling into. We got we were lucky enough, Jay, so the government passed the payment protection plan, and the 2 days before it went up, Jay did all the prep paperwork, whatever, and then the day it went live, he spent the entire day basically sniping the system, getting the application and doing all things, just monitoring the system to get in a thing. He had to. It was a huge process, and we got the payment protection plan, and basically it got us 2 months free, essentially, in 2020. Not totally free, but it covered our payroll and our rent and our electricity or something. But it got us a little bit of breathing room in there. But we were, our previous year, 2019, we only did Hellscape, so we didn't have a huge cash influx. So we were right on the edge. If Wildlands didn't hit, we were going to be in trouble.
I remember
it was really we coasted right to the finish line of the last bit of gas in the thing.
Well, that was literally the thing, right? Is we had to delay Wildlands so much, and when we did it, it was we cannot afford to delay this anymore. And I remember us talking about it beforehand.
We were supposed to launch in April when coronavirus just pushed that back already.
We were supposed to launch in January at one point, weren't we?
Yeah.
It was.
No, we were really at the edge of.
I remember all the conversation leading up to it. We were just I hope that we at least break 2 million. Yeah. Leading up to Wildlands.
Oh, we were really in trouble if we didn't break 2 million. That was there were gonna be layoffs. There were gonna I don't know how it was gonna pan out. But we've managed to. We got through 2020 without having to lay anybody off, without losing a stride. Yeah.
We managed to pick up Andrew when he lost his job in a pandemic. Yeah. With the way that we entered the year, the fact that we managed to keep somebody on his feet is actually wild.
We've
Yeah.
kept all these artists employed and creating through some dark times. Like it's pretty awesome. And you know what? Once again, it goes out to you guys. Like we couldn't do it without the support of everybody out there. That's my other. That was my bigger slash biggest revelation of Twitter.
Twitter or Twitch?
Twitch, whatever.
Very different platforms.
Yeah, this thing that we do.
Could you imagine if we were doing all these streams on Twitch or on Twitter?
Can you?
You can go live on Twitter
for hours.
You can do Periscope.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Well,
yeah.
Anyway, the fact that, particularly in the sort of the early leg of quarantine, I really wanted to keep streaming, right? I was like, I wasn't sure exactly how, and I was like, you had to give me a crash course in OBS so I could try and run it from home.
We had to teach you how to do it from home on your Mac.
Yeah, which it was a rocky road, but it was like I really wanted to. I didn't want to stop providing this platform, providing this content for our folks, and I saw at one point on Twitter, somebody posted something. I think it might have been Odin Forged, and he said something. He said the Dwarven Forge streams are one of the things that are getting me through these tough times. He's having a place, I know at least once a week, there's a place I can go with like-minded folks and hang out for a couple hours and just be in this thing. And it's just this positive, creative place where I can go. And it was like that. When I realized, I was like, wow, we really have to keep streaming. Like if it, that was my hope, is that we could help people through, but it was not really fun to hear that. And then I realized, I was like, it was my only contact with the outside world too, right?
Well, that's why
it did a lot for me. Like being able to have this thing and have some consistency, because there's been not a lot of consistency, or being like, no matter what, I'm going to get out there and like the thing. Like it's been an anchor.
Yeah, that's mostly that's something I've seen come up a couple times in the chat today. It was people just saying like that it made the pandemic a lot easier this year, like having these kind of like laid back streams where we just kind of talk about gaming, like very laid back, creative things.
We want to avoid politics. We want to avoid the harsh realities of the world out there, and just sort of like let's just be in this shared hobby that we love for a couple hours.
I'm an extremely opinionated person, but just to have like a place where like we can just stay calm and like kind of come out of it for a couple hours every week has been nice. Which is why we streamed on like Thanksgiving and stuff. I know it's been a thing with like the hobby hang with Hamster and Mace. We've largely been doing that because it's just like it's a way to hang out and also get ourselves to spend some time like working on like a hobby that we enjoy instead of like stressing out about things, no matter the state of the world at the moment.
And stream it out there and get some other people to sit down and paint while you're painting and whatever.
It's about making those connections.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a wild thing to think back, because I don't know what I would be doing this year if we hadn't set this up. Because like my whole thing is I'm a freelancer. I do editing and production. None of the regular video production gigs that I'd been doing up until this point would have been going this year. One of the conferences that I did every year got canceled this year, because how are you going to do a
all
conference?
Conferences, like everything was canceled.
So having that security has been wild, but then also to be able to come in, because that's another thing with freelancing is especially when you're not like a name. I have had to edit and produce things for some real awful people.
Yeah.
Like just some real, just some awful circumstances at times.
I'm glad we can give you a shelter from that.
Yeah.
Because you're, a very valuable part of what we're doing here, and very happy to have it.
It's wild to think that the stuff that I spent, the skills that I spent like my free time developing, were able to be churned into something like this.
236 hours of content. Counting.
234. Right. Well, 236 after tonight. Actually, that was before counting build of the month. So.
Well, I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to all you guys that are watching and have watched for all the support, and also for saying, for posting it out there and saying, hey, thank you, thanking us for doing this and giving us the encouragement and tuning in and just keeping and gifting subscriptions to each other and do it it's been just such a really. It's been nice to see such a sort of a beautiful community flourishing around it. That's given us the sort of encouragement and drive to keep going. We wouldn't have done it if nobody showed up and people were jerks and stuff. We wouldn't we wouldn't do it. It's not worth. We don't want to create that. We want to create a place where good folks can go and talk about awesome geeky things that we all love together. Yeah,
which has been fantastic with the Discord, especially during the summer before we went into Wildlands when there wasn't a lot of streaming happening. I didn't have very much to do during that time. Yeah. So being able to still have the Discord there and be talking with people was very helpful. Because I'm very isolated a lot of the time.
We all are. It's a tough, I'm not going to, it's my first year, I think, in my entire life that I won't physically see my parents at Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Same. This is the first. I never went home for Thanksgiving, but Christmas was the one.
I would always do at least one and often two, and this is.
Christmas was the one time a year that I would go home. Yeah, and this is the first time I'm going to be missing that.
Oh, it's brutal.
Which is wild, and it's a thing that kind of feels dumb to complain about, just because it's everybody's having to deal with it, and it's also a thing where it's I don't know, my mom is
just because everybody's dealing with it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's what about showcasing large Dwarven Forge collections for all of us to drool over? Actually, one of the other things I wanted to we should get into
let's do small Dwarven Forge collections, the 12 by 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and actually this is a good time to do the giveaway as well. I think.
We have a giveaway. Yeah.
Starter dungeon this year, right? Or year.
You tell me.
Today, right?
It feels like a year.
I believe we're going back to starter dungeons for this week and next week. So yeah, it'll be a starter dungeon. If you want to win that, what's a good word for the giveaway?
Gratitude.
Gratitude?
I have a lot of gratitude for everybody.
If you want to enter the giveaway, it's we can only ship out to US. However, if you do live outside of the U.S., but you've got a U.S. address that we can send it to, and then they can forward it to you, we can do that. If you want to enter the giveaway for a starter dungeon, though, go ahead and just type gratitude in the chat. You can type it multiple times. You won't be disqualified or anything for that. It's not case sensitive, just spelled regularly.
But you only get entered once, no matter you only get entered 100 times.
Yeah, but some people set it up where if you type it in multiple times, you get disqualified. We don't do that. So. As long as you type it in at least once, you're in.
It's been heartwarming to see people that have won in the past haven't entered again because they give other people a chance to win. And it's folks like Odin Forged won and is giving his set away to somebody on Twitter. It's pretty cool to see the community mindedness, right? People are really part of a thing.
Because the reason we wanted to do this was it gives us a chance to get the pieces in the hands of people who might not be getting them otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's, because we love the stuff we make, but also we have to acknowledge it's a luxury product, and it's got a premium.
Oh, it's really damn expensive.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't have the means to just buy all the Dwarven Forge you want. So it's nice to have a chance to get it out there. Which is another part, the fact that our community is caring enough to care about that kind of stuff.
It's just the best.
Yeah. So while it's happening, speaking of our community, if you are on the Discord or if you aren't on the Discord, they've started doing this thing this month called the 12 by 12 Days of Christmas, where basically...
but it's we, right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't made any, I guess.
No, but you're part of
the community. That's fair. Toby has actually said he wants to do some of those, so Toby should be posting some soon. He's just been busy. Because I've showed it to the staff, and they've been looking through it. Nate thinks it's really cool. Toby's really excited about it, because 12 by 12s is what he does. Essentially, 12 by 12 Days of Christmas is a community Discord challenge to make as many like little creative builds as you can that fit on a 12x12 in a 12x12 space. There's like a general goal to try and make 12 during the month, but
12 by 12 builds.
Yeah, but that's just because of the memeing, and it's not really like an important thing. It's mostly just like a fun way to see what people can make. So if you want to join the Discord, I see Orion Noir's actually already put it in chat. Woo! If you want to join the Discord and get in on that, there's a link right there. There's a dedicated channel just for that. Maybe I'll post the Dropbox link at a certain point. I've been collecting everybody's builds in a Dropbox link so that we've got them all. And
they're awesome. The range and the creativity and like...
So speaking of which, let's actually show one of them. This one is by Andrew Kell, who's a regular on the Discord. I don't think he's here because he's in the EU, so a lot of the time he's not able to stay up for the streams. So this is one of the builds he did. I thought it'd be fun to share because it's kind of Christmas themed.
I love this.
This is I think he called it the magic ball tree. It's a clever little caverns build with
he looks like he custom painted those water tiles.
He does his own painting. Yeah, he's been posting his update pictures of him painting these cavern or these pieces. It's a very
awesome.
It's a clever little build, and there's a lot of like really cool things in there. I wish I could show all of them because there's a lot of very cool ones.
I mean, there's got to be like 50 or 60 different ones.
There's a lot,
there's
and there's
like
still more. I guarantee before the stream's over, there's going to be more builds in there that I need to.
All sorts of biomes and all sorts of just such good creativity and. Yeah, look at those beautiful, the blue and the...
He's a very talented hobbyist. And I think he also talks about, like, sharing it with his, like, wife and kids. I believe they all are kind of in on it.
Can I tell you, my... It's taken a while, but my kids are finally really into building with Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
Grayson had, like, a little period for a while, but he's back. But now that we're playing D&D regularly, I've been playing Dungeon World with them. I've been playing Hero Quest with them. Hero Quest has sort of gone off the rails and turned into all sorts of other whatever. I can't tell you. I've had that game. I've had that box set since whatever it was, 1989 or 90 or 91, whenever it came out. Like, and intact, all the pieces. Half the minis are broken at this point. Like, it's crazy. They're super brittle, I think, at this point, but they weren't designed to survive the rigors of an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. But so what I was gonna say was I've been building with Hawken is really into it now, my 4-year-old. So I was building with him this morning. We were building an adventure, and then he kind of like DMs an adventure, but you don't really get to make a lot of choices. He just kind of is like free playing through it and telling you what kind of happens. And we were having so much fun just building with dungeons this morning. I totally forgot what time it was and missed his class. He was supposed to go to pre-K. Like, it's all remote learning, so like we totally missed class because we're building dungeons.
Yeah, you know what they say, like play is like the most important part of a child's learning process, right?
The principal of the school doesn't say that, it turns out.
Well, they haven't gotten their hands on Dwarven Forge.
Yeah, also a fact. Yeah. Although they're the person who's in charge of their after school activities is a huge critter, and it loves plays D&D and like they're so.
It's a rapidly expanding little community,
By little, you mean
it's massive,
like multi-million, right? There's millions of people that are playing,
which is wild. Like the amount that tabletop in general has grown the last several years is absolutely wild.
Oh, it's hard.
And like D&D's was the way in for most people because it's like the one everybody knows. But even now, like on Twitter and stuff, I'm seeing people then move from D&D to like just a bunch of other systems because there's so much stuff out there.
There's like endless. You could start now. You could start reading. You could spend the rest of your life reading RPG books and not run out of books to read. Like you would. I have a drop. Because you could always go back to older editions too of every. Star Wars is on its 4th edition, and Vampire the Masquerade is on its 5th edition, and it just goes forever. Like there's so many indie games. There's so many like.
With Cyberpunk 2077, the video game just came out, and the amount of Cyberpunk stuff that there already is. When you talk about 2020, we talk about Red.
Well, the first one was set in 2020, right? And that was 1990 or something. Like
we've reached the point where which is always wild. Like when you get to the point where the futuristic stuff, we're there. Yeah. So that happened with wasn't like the original Blade Runner like 2019. Something like that. Yeah. And then then 2019 they.
What about 2001: Space Odyssey, like that?
Yeah.
We're way
1984. Where's the 1984 tabletop game?
Got dates, like,
Yeah. Man.
What are our viewers' favorite moments? Like, what are our like?
I saw some people mention anytime that Mace and Hamster are tearing into each other is a good time.
Yeah, that is fun.
Mace and Hamster have a very fun dynamic. I wish there's so much I want to do with wargaming, but it's so. The first thing is I guess that's one of the things I've learned is wargaming is by far the most difficult thing to shoot and make interesting. I think compared to D&D, because translating the way that you play a war game into live content is extremely difficult. To have the kind of coverage that you need camera-wise. Well,
you have to cover it like ESPN if you're gonna try and.
You need like 50 different cameras flying on wires overhead, like to catch all the.
It's much more. Yeah. It's much more of a competitive sport than it is theater, right? D&D is theater. That's like wargaming is competitive sport.
Yeah.
We need excited like announcers.
Which was our pitch for the initial one was to do
a cool.
The pitch for the initial one. And this was what we really wanted to do, and then the pandemic hit right as we were about to ramp it up. We wanted to do a fully produced wargaming show that was set up like professional wrestling. And they would have costumes, we'd have personas, and we would have like seasons where we'd have like a couple episodes that would like run through. There'd be like a sequential story like over like a month and a half, and we would like it was this whole plan. We were so excited for it, and then we had to that whole thing we weren't able to, because it takes a lot of people in a room to pull that off.
Yes.
We would need like a full crew. We would need a lot of stuff that we just can't in good conscience do right now.
Or in any conscience. Like we just Well, that's one of the other interesting learnings of Twitch is that we can do a lot of things less than we think. Like we can do things less polished than we'd like to. And
we always try to do everything at like the utmost, but that's also part of the, which is also, it's a conversation that you and I have had a couple times, especially when it comes to like lighting things for like the game and such, for live games. It's the thing of like, the biggest thing with Twitch is the transparency and the functionality of it, I guess. More than about being like as polished as possible, it's just kind of about being real. It's about providing that window, and it's about helping them share the experience with us as much as they can.
Well, and that was the thing, right? The guy, one of the philosophies of this channel was like, let's let it be the opposite of YouTube, right? It's not highly polished. It's just sort of, it's more raw and real and shows the warts, and it's just sort of a little more, it's behind the scenes versus what they finally see.
Apparently the first edition of Cyberpunk was actually set in 2013. So 2020 was the like, all right, let's go further into the future. Was 2020?
2013?
That's what Tremir's saying. I've never played Cyberpunk, so I'm not terribly familiar with it. People have said some of their favorite parts were Mace's cover band and Mace's bad jokes. Ham Planet was amazing.
Ham Planet. Full Ham Planet.
Your office having to evacuate due to a fire alarm, that was fun.
Did we stream that? No.
We during Wildlands, I think what happened was we had to delay the stream.
Oh, because
we were getting ready to start the stream, and then the fire alarm got set off, and we had to go out, and I had to tell people, and I had to get on the Discord and tell people, it's like, hey, we're gonna be a little bit late.
Well, I was trying to get a shot, and I pumped the room so full of fog that it bled out into the hall and set off the fire alarms. Because we deactivated. I've covered up the smoke detectors in here, because there's a whole fancy building-wide smoke detectors, and I've disabled them in here by duct taping Tupperware over them, because we did this. But like, it snuck out into the hallway and set off the whole, to get Oblivion. It was a cool shot.
It was a great shot, and that's all that matters, really. Yeah. That's the whole philosophy behind guerrilla filmmaking, right?
One shot for the update.
It doesn't matter if you get kicked out of the mall, as long as you get the shot that you need of somebody like running up
our neighbors do
the wall
like
outside of the EB Games. EB Games doesn't exist anymore, but not here.
Remember EB Games? Does it exist anywhere?
It exists in Canada, and I think Australia still has them. But they all got rebranded to GameStop here, I believe.
Right.
Get the shot at any cost. Yeah, man. That's guerrilla filmmaking 101.
The Stormforge.
The reveal of the Basilisk model was huge. That was our
fun.
last big reveal. Was the
fun.
Basilisk. My favorite thing about that was when we revealed the. I guess I can go back to the sniper thing. Yeah. Oh, those runes are so beautiful.
Yeah, these are outrageous.
When we updated the site to have the minis banner and the Basilisk was still the thing, like blurred out. I remember everybody on the Discord going nuts trying to figure out what it was. And people were like, it's clearly some kind of turtle.
I love this speculation. Wild speculation is my favorite.
What other were big?
I got scolded, back in the day on the forums. Somebody was speculating. I don't remember what Kickstarter it was, 4 or 3 or 4 or something. I don't know. So people were speculating about something, and I popped in and I'm like, oh well, it's and they got upset that I ruined the speculation by telling them what it actually was, because they're like, no, we just want to go off the rails speculating nonsense, and I was like, okay, I just won't tell you anything anymore.
It's still EB Games in Australia. Excellent.
Hey.
I have too many Australian friends because I tend to stay awake late enough
weird,
that I have a lot of Australian friends because I'm bad at sleeping. Has anyone seen any Gorilla Shot films? Yeah, everybody's seen Borat, right?
No, I haven't been shot by gorillas.
Shot by gorillas?
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, right? That's like the whole thing it's a film by gorillas for gorillas.
Definitely. So yeah. There was that There's that famous photo by the chimpanzee, right? Some nature photographer dropped his camera or put it down to eat lunch or something, or got taken by a chimpanzee, and a chimpanzee took a photo with his camera and he published it and won an award, and they're like, he doesn't deserve the award because he didn't
Is he sharing that prize money with the
the chimp should have gotten the thing, and it was it caused a philosophical debate on what makes the action of photography, what makes the art.
Oh, people are talking about the rebirth of the Fire Myrmidon as a high point. Here's the thing,
dude. Those last 10 minutes.
This entire Twitch channel was just a long con to get the Myrmidon back. I've been fighting for that for so long, and actually the awesome. Nexus. That's why Finley suggested the Nexus, was he was looking for a justification to bring the Myrmidon back,
and it worked.
Yeah,
it all.
We got him back. I'm so excited. I am happy that I am responsible for 1/10 of the Myrmidon unpainted purchases. I'm gonna make a whole squad. I'm very excited.
The last 10 minutes of the Kickstarter, which I haven't watched back actually. The first time you showed that seeing this clip was the first time I saw a little bit of it.
You have to go back at some point and watch the last 15 because there's the point. There's a point where
myself. I don't.
Here's the thing. There's a point where you'd started saying if we hit this much, we'll do a sci-fi set. And there's a point where you can see the change in your eyes where you're like, wait, is it actually happening? There's a point where we start talking about we just closed 10,000 in the last 2 minutes, and you just see your eyes just go all right. And it's wait, this is actually happening.
Well, it's a thing now. I'm next year we'll brand it the final 10 or whatever. We'll have to do something. We'll start making some bonkers promises in the last 10 minutes if we can push over something crazy. Speaking of which, you go first. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can express enough how cathartic that final stream was, because that was it went from at least from my personal experience, it went from a couple months of things being super slowed down and me not really having much to do, and just looking at the Kickstarter is I feel this is this is going to be the test of if anything I've been doing has been worth it.
Yep.
So I felt everything on the line when we actually got to the Kickstarter, and so then to do 70 to 80 hour weeks every week for a month straight
and churn out how many hours of content?
I think
52 hours of content over 25 days.
I think there was one day during the Kickstarter where I didn't come into the office, and I was still doing stuff that day.
Well, you were still cut till 6 in the morning or 10.
Because then I was still editing.
Yeah.
I cut a lot of the videos for a while then still, and then I was still doing Natural One stuff, so I was still editing and uploading the episodes for that.
That was the straw.
And then,
but to have it culminate.
But to be able to go back and then to have that whole the end of that stream play out and go we broke our wildest predictions at the end of that, and to have like all of that come through, and then to go onto the Discord afterwards and just like read through like everybody's messages and see like how excited everybody was, and
Yeah,
I don't know, it was a super cathartic.
Well, I really wanted to hit 4. That was like before we launched. I was like, that was my secret dream. I was like, I didn't think it was feasible because we were launching in a pandemic, and there was a lot against this, but that was what I really wanted. I was like, I just want to break 4. And like 390 wasn't gonna do it. Like it had to be, like 4 is like the magic thing. So like finally cresting 4 was a big emotionally was a big deal.
Yeah,
it was a good yeah. And it was fun to just kind of finally promise up a bunch of the fun things that have been kind of waiting in the wings and be like, all right, let's do this. Speaking of which, I think we should do a sci-fi episode. There's a bunch of questions about sci-fi.
I actually was going to say there's somebody asking for sci-fi beans right now.
We don't have any beans
an
right
idea.
now.
It was an idea that we initially had to do a sci-fi episode near the end here, but then we just kind of like ran out of space.
But I get to do a little prep for it. Maybe it's a January or February thing.
Yeah. So we'll do that early next year.
I'd love to present some stuff. And we can do polls.
Do you want to do the poll in chat?
I want to do live polls. No. I mean, during the sci-fi episode.
During sci-fi, you want to like get where people are at. Yeah, we can
present some stuff and get some polls and
we can do live polls pretty easily.
We talked about it at I don't know, one of these, I don't remember, one of our big team brainstorms. We spent a session on sci-fi, and it's a kind of a can of worms in a good way. Like these are cyborg worms that will kill you, but like it's there's a lot, there's a bunch we got to kind of crack, and I'd love to get a little insight from the community.
I guess that's actually what I think we should say about sci-fi is that our next Kickstarter, like Cities, is taking priority before sci-fi. Like what we want to do is we're trying to lock down our plan for Cities first, and then we will figure out what to do with sci-fi and how to fit it around it after that.
The challenge is it draws from the same core resource pool of sculpting.
Yeah. We need to make sure that it doesn't compromise
concept.
Cities to do it.
And it needs like our flagship still needs to live.
Because it's also a thing, like we want to make sure that when we do sci-fi, we do it right. We don't want it to be a thing that we end up having to like compromise on.
No, we want
to
just destroy.
Yeah.
That's one of the other. This is now revelation number 5, I think, of from Twitch. I was gonna call it Twitter again. It's been really nice to be able to get sort of instant feedback, right? Mm-hmm. Like be able to say, like a lot of times we'll be in a meeting and I'll say, I'll throw it out on Wednesday on the Anvil and see what the reaction is, and because if people here don't start freaking out, then I'll be like, okay, we can, there's always gonna be some people that freak out, but like if there's no crazy red flags when we say, hey, we're gonna do this, then I'm like, okay, then it's not this is doable. Whatever this plan is, it's doable.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee that we're gonna catch everything, but it helps us catch a lot more than we would otherwise. Like or
just feel out. See, is this a bad idea?
The B-sides of the River Terrain trays, like that being a thing that we were able to catch before the Pledge Manager, because somebody was watching and was like, hey, if you swap like the textures on these sides, you make these more modular while losing nothing. Was a great thing. Is the goal to build a Dwarven Forge Sci-Fi Essential set, or to fill a gap in the world of sci-fi terrain?
Or what was the second part?
Or to fill a gap in the world of sci-fi terrain.
Well, that's a big initial question.
It's also something that we're also initially trying to figure out.
Well, that's part of the problem is we were just discussing it and we don't really.
There's so many.
Kind of need to figure out what the mission statement for the sci-fi set needs to be, right? Is it do we want to do some one-off that like does something other people have done, or do we want to start like the core thing for a line of sci-fi and which market are we going to serve, and where are we? There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the reason we don't have answers on it yet is because we want to make sure that we don't just do it because we have to do it, but we do it because
we want to do it.
Yeah. so much of the staff is like huge on sci-fi. Like the amount of people who were genuinely excited that we're doing sci-fi is like
team.
entire
Staff
team.
is
Right,
Staff is like a
like the entire team.
staff is what like Microsoft calls their people. Or
I know like Hamster and Nina and Eli like have all talked about wanting to do sci-fi so badly, and
it's just sci-fi is cool. Like
it
it's
is.
the other
It's a chance to do stuff that we haven't been able to do,
and it's a different feel completely. And it's like, wow, it's really, and there's a lot of there's a lot of questions. There's
So early next year we'll do something talking about that in detail. But that's basically it. Is the reason we haven't said much about it is because there's still a lot of internal discussion on how where to even start yet. Like we're locking down cities first. People want to know if there's any word on the terrain tray textures.
Sort of. I'm supposed to get a sample of a thing tomorrow, and then we're gonna send out an update next week, and we can talk about it on next week's on the Anvil.
Okay. So we can loop that in with the battle board thing then when we show off the new prototype.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
It's been it's been sort of frustratingly slow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of our work is frustratingly slow.
Yeah. We would love to have answers, but we don't want to give something before we actually know it.
Yep.
How did the battle boards change? It's not that they changed more that we have like a new prototype back. So we have like something that's closer to the finished product to show.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's although I don't know if it reads as much on camera, but in hand it's like,
that's the hardest thing with the battle boards and terrain trays, honestly.
Or with all of our terrain, dude. The first thing everybody says at a convention when you see it, they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't know how nice this felt, or I didn't know how nice this looked in person, or I didn't know how like."
Because camera sensors work so much more differently than the human eye, that like the way that something looks on camera is not necessarily how it's gonna actually come out.
And you
in person.
can't tell how something feels on camera, and you can't tell like how fun a modular boat is doesn't read on camera.
Any city beans? So we're gonna start dropping beans at the end of January. Most likely is what we're planning.
Yep.
Let's see. I'd be interested in sci-fi, but I can see the huge can of worms there. I like these ideas tonight about something that could also fit into a fantasy setting, Lovecrafting maybe, or something more organic. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways we can go with sci-fi. That's part of the problem.
There's like there's so like
let's run the giveaway actually.
Oh yeah,
because we've had that going for a bit.
Gratitude. Type in gratitude.
Yeah,
last chance.
I'll give it another 30 seconds. If you have not yet entered, we've got 64 people entered already. But if you have not yet entered the giveaway, if you're in the U.S. or if you can ship it to somebody in the U.S. to pass it forward, if you would like a chance to win a starter dungeon set, type gratitude in chat. Not case sensitive.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Just for fun.
So I guess
it's not Ham Planet, McGreg. That's not. That's not the word this time. Gertrude. There we go. Gertrude is the word.
So I guess my question for folks, as we wrap up this year is, what do you guys want to see next year? Right? Yeah. What do we? I don't know. Where should we go that we haven't? Where should we boldly go?
There was a really good question I saw that I was like, oh, we should talk about this, but we were in the middle of a topic. What was it? I need to just write these down when I see them.
Yeah.
I get sidetracked talking about things. I think it was, what did you discover during the Kickstarter process? Yeah, that's what it was. What did you learn about the Kickstarter process this time? I don't know if they meant specifically about streaming, but I think that's the most interesting thing to talk about is we tried we went Ham Planet on the streams this time.
We escaped Ham Planet.
I need to say this. Ham Planet is a phrase that I picked up from Rosalind Damlow. She was an editor for the Super Beard Bros, and she's a very funny person, somebody that I'm happy to say that I was able to become a friend with, and just an incredibly positive person and very funny. And Ham Planet is something that she said all the time.
Founder of Ham Planet.
Founder of Ham Planet. Yeah, I got it from them, and
you perfected
it. She may have come up with Ham Planet,
but you took it to the next level.
Yeah. I made the Wolfer number 139 of Ham Planet. How did you feel after doing that streaming barrage? Because you were involved in most of the streams. you weren't there for all of them, but you were there for over half of them. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I wonder how many hours I streamed in the middle of running a Kickstarter.
I'd say it was at least 30 from you, if we did 50 and a half altogether, because you were involved in all the games.
Yeah.
You were the Wildlands Survival Guide, which was kind of our during Kickstarter version of On the Anvil.
I think 5 days a week. I committed. I was like, I was going to stream 5 days a week, and then we need I need coverage 2 days a week.
I would say it was over 30 hours for sure.
I think one of my favorite parts, like the Twitch streams, are one of my favorite parts of the Kickstarter, because it's sort of just getting to connect directly and answer questions live and show off the stuff live is the best. And it's like the speed of being able to just sort of do it live rather than have to like a lot of our YouTube videos, just it's a longer, slower process. Biggest picture, I think the thing I learned, like the reminder on this Kickstarter and all of them is, and I don't know what the answer is yet, but we need easier on-ramps. Like the stuff we do is big and complicated, right? Like Wildlands is big and complicated, and we need, and I don't know what like sample builds helps enormously, and there's some things to do, but fundamentally it's really like trying to make it more accessible for new people, which is our eternal struggle. I don't know, I don't totally know what it all is.
The problem that comes with making a luxury product with a ton of features is trying to make it not seem obtuse and unattainable at first blush. And there's just a lot of, like, I don't think Wildlands in particular was, we started, some of those pieces were sculpted during Caverns Deep, so it was 2.5 years in development or whatever. So I'm so close to this stuff by the time it goes out to the world that I don't think we do a perfect job of showing people all the things that they need to know or that are special about it, because some of it we're just so used to and take for granted. Like, I don't know, do people even know why the teardrop shape inserts are shaped the way they are? Like, did we even clearly state that? Like, I don't think we ever talked about it, because I think you mentioned it on the Anvil, and universally everybody was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I don't think we ever actually talked about why that's different than the burrow.
And that's
inserts.
And it's that times 500 things, right? It's like there's so many decisions that get made over the course of a long period of time that you almost forget. You don't know what everybody doesn't know, and it's and I don't entirely know how to crack that. But
to be honest, I think having this level of transparency, like what we did with Wildlands, because we started pretty late on in the Wildlands process. If we really do start showing the city process from literally when we're at the very beginning, foam and sketching stages next month, it'll be a lot easier to kind of include people on that entire thought process.
But although one of the tricks is, though, like I did say on some stream at some point pre-Wildlands, I explained why the teardrop things are shaped the way they are. So then, to some degree, I'm like, oh well, I told it to I said it once on Twitch, so everybody should know. But it not everybody knows if you.
I think for a lot of that comes into us. It's something I want to be better about. Yeah. If we're talking about what I learned through the Wildlands thing, it's that seeing what some of the best highest moments were, for example, before we did the streams, I did not realize that it was going to be so incredible to have reveals of these minis and these set pieces with the people responsible for them right there. In hindsight, looking back at it, it's of course that's a cool thing. I really want to approach the next Kickstarter with a more planned out idea of how to have as many of those moments as possible. So I think that's what a lot of it comes into, is keeping a better running tab of that thought process, because with a lot of that stuff, we can explain these things on stream, but then we also need to make sure that it is clearly communicated off of the streams as well.
Well, also the challenge with the plan is that I will change course rapidly and often. But
sure, but that's also
conceptually. Let's start with a place.
Yeah, and
so like
you know,
this.
Yeah.
This teardrop insert is designed so that it'll look like it's neat. It's part of the floor, but then when you lift it out, it's the base, because it's slanted. The base is larger than the hole, so then you can place them over the hole if you want. So you have two options to place them, and then of course, because it's slanted, it can fit. It works as scatter because it's nice and slanted versus the Burroughs ones had the slant in the other
Burroughs
direction.
ones had like a weird bottom.
They're an undercut, nice. Yeah. So these were designed to like look great as scatter pieces, but then also fit into the pieces and also fit on top of the pieces. And we're sized. I wanted the holes to be big enough to actually do something with. So we have like the Burroughs insert, hole insert, and yeah. But anyway, it's that times 1,000. So that was a good reminder of like, I don't know, we just, and I don't have the answer of how we tell people all this stuff and whatnot, much less the poor people that show up on the last day of the Kickstarter and like after we've done 24 days of like all this information, and then it's like you show up there and you're like, what is all this? But we're gonna work on that, figuring out how to make it, you know, what the on ramp is, how to make that easier. The what we're doing with the core sets now. That's sort of a thing of like letting it be accessible to people.
We're making progress. Let's roll this giveaway real quick because we then
forgot
about doing it
that?
again. We already did it, so let's just go ahead and roll it and get it out of the way so we don't forget about it. Come on, 6 of clubs.
Didn't 6 of clubs already win?
No, they never won, which is the joke. Lawnmower Latte won, which is a fantastic name.
Lawnmower Latte.
Lawnmower Latte, which they have not won before. I'm pretty sure. So
congrats, Lawnmower Latte.
That's very exciting. I'll whisper at you and get your info. We just need your address basically, so we can send you your set.
You just won a latte pieces. No?
Well, it's a it's a starter dungeon. So I think it's one of the things is I felt like we had done a lot of planning going into the Wildlands streaming. God knows I had enough time to
can never do enough planning though.
But I didn't quite understand the best stuff to plan around when deciding on those things. So now seeing like
you gotta survive it once before you Yeah. Agree.
Okay. Excellent. All right, just reached out to Lawnmower.
Is there anything else people would like us to do in 2021?
People want to see more painting streams talking about doing fiddly bits and kind of smaller pieces, which I completely understand. We tried to do a couple of those. There's so many pieces though, but maybe we can do some hobby hangs that are specifically built around those.
Aaron is going to do some YouTube painting videos that will focus on. I don't know. I can't promise what the final ones are going to be. Whether some, and maybe even some PDFs also, because not everybody wants to watch a video. So we have like some different ways to get the information of how to paint some of the stuff, or what some of their steps and colors and processes are.
Especially because I feel like the hobbyist part of our community is growing, and so the more we can help fuel that with giving them resources for making their own paint schemes and stuff, the better.
Or just punching up the existing paint scheme.
Yeah. Right? The thoughtful touches thing I think is a great approach to take because of that. Yeah. Especially with the changes to the Dread Hollow paint. On-ramp is steep. I've started with Dwarven Fortress this year during the Pledge Manager. Yeah. Did the dice... I did hear from a couple people who did come on because of the dice and then decided to grab a couple other scatter pieces because of it.
God, I love the dice.
The dice are so good. I'm very excited about those. It's definitely a thing, like, looking back at it, where I'm like, we could have hit this stuff harder. We could have communicated this stuff more clearly. And I think now that I've been through this whole process from the beginning, I think I'm going to be...
Well, some of it was bandwidth, too. We just didn't,
For a lot of stuff, we were running at lower production just because we had less people in the office to handle certain things.
Yes. But we could have hung a lantern on the dice more.
There's also a layer of efficiency that you get when people are in the office and are able to like quickly like tell each other something.
Yes. And you can be more aware of what's going on. You can actually see the dice physically. You can see whatever. Like, man, I can't wait for those dice to be in hand.
I enjoyed the fireside chat Critical Role did. What if you did a fireside chat with each member of Dwarven Forge? We've thought... So one of the things that we've kicked around the idea of doing was a more kind of podcast-style content. Mm-hmm. If that would be something people would be into. I'm not sure... The main thing is I want to make sure that it's something that has a lot of value, that isn't just something that could be done on the Anvil. But, like, you know, I'd want it to have, like, a very distinct a purpose, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what would people like to get out of it? Like, what are they hoping to?
Because we've got the equipment to do a podcast fairly well, actually. Mm-hmm. One of the microphones that I had us get for this stuff are really good podcast. It
just seems like our work is very visual. You know, we make physical things,
which is part of the thing, right? Is part of the experiment has been like, how much do we need to actually show the terrain the whole time for the streams to be worth it? Plenty of time to rest when you're dead. Yeah.
These are facts.
Just don't light a fire like Matt and Marisha did with their clogged chimney. Is that a thing that happened? Did they start a fire during one of their shows? I thought I was done getting Hellspace is a very good typo for Hellscape.
Hellspace.
But now I'm realizing I don't have / need a pedestal of pain.
You don't need one?
I think they don't have, and so / they need one. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Oh yeah, pedestal of pain is fun. Like, this thing is
it's a really great piece.
Well, you know, we didn't do a ton of elevation in Hellscape, so this thing, you know, it was designed to be like the cool MacGuffin platform, especially if you put any of the... Do I have any of the covers here? You can put any of those LED covers over it and it looks sick.
Hearing people's backstories is interesting. Nate told his story on one stream, and the artist who designed the dragon also had a good one. I'm curious if they mean Crystal or Russ. He's out of here. He's out of here. Pigs in Hellspace. They didn't start a fire. They didn't start a fire. They just smoked their room out and may have given themselves a risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Excellent. Going to Ham Planet. So I guess we kind of have like a podcast feel to a lot of our stuff. The Hobby Hang is very podcasty at times.
This is the circle from.
None in hand yet. Should I go for it? You don't have any more stuff in hand? If you want to try it, like now's a pretty good time. We just launched some sets that are like the Cavern's Core sets. If you're looking for like to make caves and such.
Or get a sample pack if you want to see.
Pack. Yeah.
Just like, you know, if it's $10 or $12 or something, you get a couple of pieces just to see the quality. And
if you need recommendations, also asking people on the Discord or on the forums. There's a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about this stuff and can help you find what's best for you and your price point. I love that snake piece.
Yeah. Old school Eli.
Pieces with real fire. What about the time underwater biomes? Seeing if there's anything else we've missed. When I paint your pieces, I'm in awe of every sculpted element repeatedly. That's one of the things we try to hammer on.
Wait, what did they say?
Every time I paint your pieces, I'm in awe of every sculpted element.
Yeah, you can appreciate it more when you sit and actually paint.
When it makes you like actually focus on every inch of it, you realize how many like little hidden things they've put in there. Painting guide PDFs are super useful, while actually painting way more so than the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PDFs are best when you're actually like going through it. The videos are great to see and see the process. You can do it on your own
time and like.
Yeah. And you don't got to skip around on the video or anything. You can just have it up there. The dice are what pulled you in. Oh, excellent. Woo! I'm really happy we did that. Paint streams to detail. Oh, here's one thing I realized that we never did that we could do that has to show part of the process. We never did a stream like with Hamster or Aaron figuring out the paint scheme for something. Like Hamster's talked about when he's doing minis, like he'll do a couple iterations to like figure out like what paint scheme works the best. Sometimes a lot. I remember during Hellscape doing the different paint schemes on the Howling Devil. I remember seeing both of those and I was like, these are both like very cool. And so having the thought process behind like, you know, what makes, like, imagine if the Basilisk paint schemes had happened like on stream. That'd be like really cool.
Fun. Yeah, that's not crazy. Although, yeah.
If I order something on next Monday, will it still be shipped this year?
Next Monday?
Yeah, next Monday. It should still ship this year. I just don't know if it'll get to you by Christmas.
Yeah, it'll ship this year, but it won't get to you by Christmas.
Not concerned about getting them before Christmas, just curious. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It should ship out. It should ship out by then.
Yes,
Yeah. Need PDF and use the script for painting video. Yeah, when we made some PDFs a couple months ago that people were really happy with.
Yeah, well, it's on the queue of things that would be neat to do.
I got pulled in by the idea of scattered terrain and wildland. Sculpted floor seems so expensive. Right, and there's like different price points that we need to try and hit, right? Everybody has different needs, so as many of those as we can satisfy at once.
Yeah, nothing wrong with scatter at all. Also faster, you know, you can just slap it down quick and go.
It'd be cool to see paint rejects. It might help us from making the same bad choices. That would be cool actually to see, like, how come certain paint schemes make it and others don't?
A lot of times we paint over them. The 3 reasons that paint schemes don't make it are: 1, if it just like is too muddy or doesn't pop, right? Like it's got to pop on the table, particularly from like 3 feet away. 2, if it's too similar to other stuff that we have, which is part of popping, right? Like if you're like, well, we've already done all this stuff that's purple, we need something that's different or whatever. And then 3
when have we ever said no to purple?
I said once.
We did Underdoom. We did an entire, like, what if the entire cavern was purple?
That's awesome. And that's it. Well, that's it. The third reason is just fundamentally I don't like it, which is like, But it's usually it's trying, you know, or it's trying to find like, hey, in this sculpt, we need to accentuate this, or this thing needs to, or it's not hitting, you know, it needs to feel more magical, or it needs to feel more dangerous, or more wet, or more whatever. Like we're chasing an adjective. Or chasing a thing so that it'll read when you get it on the table. You're like, oh, it wants to feel this thing. You want to evoke this emotion.
Here's a question I haven't thought about actually from Odin Forged.
Hey.
Why did we use glossy paint on Hellscape? Was it for light reflection?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just to give it that sort of that
kind of
gleam and that kick, and like
I guess that kind of helps it kind of somewhat get the vibe of like the heat refraction that you get.
It just felt like having all those speculators over there. It just felt more, I don't know, alive or whatever. It just like it just looked cooler at the end of the day. And then with all the light panels going there and it's kicking stuff around, it just ended up looking neater.
What are you guys looking forward to most in 2021, and why is it a unicorn?
Because it has one horn, I think, right? You know,
I'm so tired of us doing pieces with all these horns.
Yeah, just being
able to just get back to
horn.
basics. Just make something with just one horn.
Call it a day at one horn.
Yeah.
2021, I'm looking forward to being on the other side of the pandemic. Number one.
Man, it
is just having everybody back in the goddamn office. Like I
miss that hardcore.
I just want like that energy of all the artists in one place at one time. Is what I'm really looking forward to whenever that may be, and maybe late in 2021 or whatever.
I remember the first day that like Janet came back into the office to do some printing stuff when I was here, and I was like, wow, I haven't had like an actual conversation with Janet in like 5 months, and to actually go like, oh yeah, this is the dynamic that I have with Janet, and it's like just like the idea that like I haven't talked to Letitia or Nina
it's like
or
staggering.
Yeah, like
but just the raw creativity that flies around when everybody's here. It's more potent. And it's just better for everybody, like across the board. It's like
I think about
it's cold in my basement.
I think about how fun like the cities meetings have been so far, and just being like, man, remember what it was like to not have to deal with lag during this, and to also get to do stuff like this all the time, and to be able to like have a back and forth without worrying about stepping on other people so much. Like, it's...
Yeah, I miss it. I'm looking forward to having people back in the office. The other thing I'm looking forward to is conventions. I'm thinking PAX Unplugged next December seems like it'll be a safe bet.
Well, because what I'm hoping we can do is, now that we've kind of set up more of this, we set up so much more infrastructure that I think that we take the stuff that we've developed and the stuff that we learned, I think we can do better conventions than like we've done before. I think we can have like a stronger backbone to like go into conventions with like a better plan and like do cooler things and make better pitches at conventions. Like,
let's stream some cool content from the conventions and like.
Yeah, if we've got like something that can handle streaming from there, that'd be excellent.
No, there's a lot of fun. I don't know.
What do you feel is the biggest mistake made in Wildlands? Asked Masticon.
Ooh, and that's gonna be a good question to end on.
I'm trying to think if there's something.
There's a lot of mistakes.
I feel like the most generic.
I make a ton of mistakes.
I feel like most of the things I could say just kind of fall back on like not having been more prepared. But like I feel like this is something we're always going to feel because it's the catch-all answer to basically every issue we've had.
Well, it was all we wanted to have sample builds up on day one. We wanted to have a lot of stuff, and it just we didn't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
I think I think the biggest mistake wasn't having a Heart of pledge out of the gate. Like I think we forgot about the people that wanted all sculpted. Like we didn't have a great option. I think we lost some people maybe out of the gate because we didn't have a good all sculpted option. And I think we were able to react very quickly. Like we got the feedback on Discord and forums, and comments, and we were able to react quickly and sort of build those.
The fact that we were able to pop that out is wild.
Yeah, well, and that's the fun of Kickstarters, right? It's a live focus group, and we're getting this stuff and whatever. But I think we missed that quote unquote mid-level all sculpted tier that people want to spend $2,000 and just want all sculpted stuff. And I think business wise, I think making gridless versions is going to cost us. I think that was.
We'll have to see. There's
obviously we want to give everybody everything, but
there's so many hypotheticals involved with that entire situation.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Well, it's like there's a lot of stuff that we can say would have been better or worse to have done like a certain way, but the only thing that we really do know is the course of events that ended up happening. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's the thing is like we can sit there and we can armchair hypothetical like outcomes and solutions, but it's still we don't get the chance to like go back and try things differently, basically.
Oh, here's the other big like stretch goals just didn't feel right. Like I don't know I don't know
so okay
how and why. Like I don't entirely know why. All I know is the end result is it doesn't seem like most people were satisfied. Like the stretch goals didn't serve their purpose, which make them feel excited or have like they didn't hit the right emotional note.
You know what I'm most excited about for 2021?
Stretch goals in the next Kickstarter.
Solving the stretch goal problem, because I think we might have actually figured it out.
That's what we think right now.
That's what we think right now.
That's what I thought going into Wildlands. I was like, this is the best of all worlds.
It's a thing that it was a thing that like
it
was a thing that was great in theory, and then like once I did see it like actually like playing out like on the first day, I was like, oh yeah, maybe.
I don't know if I wouldn't classify it as a mistake, right? It was a thing we tried and it didn't land. Like I feel like the hard ofs I think was a mistake. I think the stretch goals are a thing that didn't land, if that makes sense. I think the logic behind it was solid. And it didn't present well, and it just didn't work. Like it was, but I didn't. I can.
What I'm hoping is
do better on stretch goals.
What I'm hoping is that 2021 will prove that the Wildlands stretch goals were the Wii U that we needed to get to the Switch of the city's stretch goals.
What does that even mean?
It means nothing for you, but hopefully to several people in chat, they'll understand what I mean. That it was a stepping stone to us, like finally actually having it all figured out. That because it was a big change.
Well, here's you already
there might be
we already
failed
there because we'll never have it all figured out.
Well,
right?
Yeah,
we just want to get as close. We just want to try it. We want to get better and have a thing, but it'll never be like you can never hit the perfect thing.
Oh, I really like the Wii U as well. So here's the thing: the Wii U is an underrated. It's not worth getting into here. I can talk about it any time else.
And also that all of these Kickstarters are the stepping stone for the next one, right? Each one we learn and evolve and change and apply a different approach, and I think that's one of the things that's I don't know. I think we do, for good or for ill. We're always trying to change it and try a different way and challenge the assumptions and see what works. And
also,
sometimes it doesn't land.
The sheer breadth of feedback that we pulled in after Wildlands, like the postmortem collection of stuff.
The survey was good, and our postmortem.
The survey, and then also just like getting pages upon pages of feedback from people on both the Discord and the forums, and being able to like boil it down to get like very specific examples. I think.
and feedback from our own team, right? I think I'm really proud of how we can analyze what we've done, and try and like pull the emotion out of it and look at it like as a pull the ego out of it and like say, hey, like here's what we did, like where are our weak spots, like how do we tear it down to build it up bigger.
And I'm very excited to be involved from earlier on so that I can plan a lot of Twitch content to try and help punctuate all these things, because I think we discovered a lot of ways that the streams could be very good tools. One thing I wish that we had done better was, and this is part of me just not having the bandwidth because I was doing.
Because you're already working 80-hour weeks.
I was doing a lot, but like looking back at it, like I wish that I had been on top of after streams being able to go in and pull like, okay,
some stills.
This is good marketing content. This is stuff that we can now
cool
take
clip.
and
Here's
push
it.
out.
Yep.
So that way, the stuff that we do explain that the stuff that we missed about explaining that we managed to cover on a stream.
Like, that's true. We covered a lot of ground on the streams that could have been just rolled out, like a highlight for the update the next day of like, here's 3 little clips from the stream.
I wish I had had the time to if I could just if I had the time to like make like a 5-minute recap of important information from each stream the day
1
before.
minute recap.
A 1 minute recap.
I guess we rambled too
It depends on what the
Yep.
stream was, honestly, and what stuff was covered. However long it needs to be to effectively communicate the information.
But speaking of recaps, I think we've recapped the heck out of this year.
Yeah,
I want to go home and go to bed.
Same.
Thank you everybody for tuning in and taking a trip down memory lane and talking about the future, and just for being part of this, for having 234 hours and counting of content. Thanks for making it possible and supporting it and cheering us on and tuning in.
Yeah, thank you guys for supporting this and making it actually pay off, because like this is to have like 5 years of freelancing and like barely scraping by and stuff like kind of result in being able to be at the helm of like this kind of community is pretty rad.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to bigger, better, and lots see what 2021 is.
Yeah. If you've got more stuff, I couldn't see everything in chat.
Throw it in Discord.
Yeah, if you've got like any suggestions, if you guys want to talk this stuff out any further, the Discord is always open. I try to check everything that gets posted there, so you can always hit us up there. The forums are also like a fairly good spot to post, but the forums generally aren't as into the Twitch stuff as much as the Discord is, which is just the reality of it's a different landscape. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys.
It's the best.
Yeah,
we will tomorrow night hobby hang. Next week on the Anvil streamed games episode. One more hobby hang, and then we take 2 weeks off.
That's another thing. If there's anything you want to know about using your Dwarven Forge stuff remotely, also put that on the Discord, because that's what we're covering next week is remote gaming with Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
And Dwarven.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Be safe. Be happy. Be kind to each other, and keep playing with all your toys. We'll see you next. Chris will see you tomorrow. I'll see you next week.
All right. Bye guys.